no soul. It's no real solution-oriented type of talk. It's all hype. It's all glamorized. It's commercialized. Like, there's a such thing as true Christianity. Then there's a such thing as Judeo-Christianity, which is commercialized, the watered-down version. And that's what we had, was a watered-down version of what Martin Luther King stood for. And as I began the poem, I quoted Dr. King. And the quote that I have from Dr. King, you might question, was that Dr. King talking like that? He was fiery. He was fiery. And in 1966, when he met with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, his whole perspective on nonviolence began to change. And just when he met the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that's when J. Edgar Hoover, they had to take him out. If he hooked up with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and started talking like the movie The Great Debate that's out right now, I recommend everybody, every nationality, to go see that movie, The Great Debaters.
Yes, sir.
Where the young brother, Denzel Whitaker, Denzel Washington and Forrest Whitaker, that's nice. But Denzel Whitaker made a comment. He said, sometimes, you know, if the laws are unjust and they are defying my survival, either we're going to have to take civil disobedience or it might have to be violence. And he said, you better pray that I do not take the latter.
Yeah, but I mean, that's real though. What you just said about if a law is restricting your ability to function on this planet as a human being, then you got to break the law. Man, we got to remember, and you know, the whole thing about the illegal immigrants, illegal. Who made up the word legal and who made up the word illegal? It's the same people we complaining about. And so they can say 150, 200 years ago, they say it's illegal for a black person to read and write. But it's legal for me to own you. So, you know, you have to have a certain type of moral awareness, man, to be able to challenge them type of unjust situations, man. And you got to be willing to break the law. And if a sucker get in your way, you got to break his jaw. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of breaking of somebody's jaw, I want to give a shout out to this brother Nelson. He's up in he's up in the mountains, man. He is Steamboat Springs. And this brother last week just got acquitted for like a first-degree assault or something like that because he broke a white kid's jaw for calling him nigger. And the white kid pushed him first. It was witnesses that the white kid had pushed him first and called him a slave boy nigger. And he just swung on dude and broke his jaw. And they prosecuted the black kid for breaking the white kid's jaw.
Of course.
So in this society, what is they telling you? Even when a white man attacks you first, he has a right to defend himself if you defend yourself against his attack. So you can't never win in a situation like that. So sometimes you got to break the law. And if a sucker get crooked, you got to break his jaw. And shots go out to brother Nelson up there in the mountains. He's the only black kid at this middle school now, and he protected himself and defended himself. And we got to give him a shout out.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Now, this particular article that we're dealing with in the final call appears on page 3, and the title reads "Beyond the Dream," which is what we're talking about. The Other Side of Dr. King, and it's written by our beautiful sister Shareef Muhammad, who writes out of Los Angeles, California. And I want to read a quote, and then I'm going to ask a question. She writes, "This year marks the 21st Martin Luther King Jr. National Holiday. It will include federal, state, and local celebrations, with the vast majority focusing on King the Dreamer, who envisioned an America free of racism. That reference also freezes him in a moment in time, the 1963 March on Washington. There, he gave the famous 'I Have a Dream' speech. But a few years later, in 1967, he was denigrated by the media, shunned by many preachers and others who worked with him in the civil rights movement, and believed by some to be killed by the U.S. government for moving his battle beyond the domestic issue of equal justice to demand for peace through an end to the Vietnam War and economic justice for the poor." Now, we all know and understand, or maybe we don't know, But for our viewers, I hope we know that lesson in history, that it was Dr. King right after his I've been to the mountaintop speech, which was a speech dealing with garbage workers and really a war on the poor and a war against poverty on his part, where he was killed after that speech. Now, why is it that you think that the enemy and those who put on these holidays and these parades and these carnivals or whatever the hell we want to call them, why is it that they focus on King the Dreamer, as Sister quotes, as opposed to King the Revolutionary who fought against poverty and injustice?
Because America is about dreams. It's about illusions. That's what you got to understand. The American dream is an illusion. And long as they can keep our kids talking about dreams and illusions and stuff, they not dealing with actual facts. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we had to deal with actual facts. And they selling dreams and illusions and visions of grandeur and all of this kind of madness. And that's what our youth is running. That's what they attracted to with the lifestyle and the thug life and all of the American gangster. We talked about this last time. They elevate a snitch, a buster, a trick. Frank Lucas is a buster. He's a snitch. He's a stool pigeon. He's a rat. And then they lift him up in the movie like he gangster. It ain't gangster to snitch on your family and your friends so you can get a 15-year bid and get out and get some money to make a movie and glorify something. And that's the American dream. That's the illusion. You know, that they selling our kids, man, and we got to be on it, and we got to represent the actual facts. The actual facts. That's what's gonna save us, not no dreams.
So in representing, he's correct. And in representing the actual fact, you have the youth though, who we say are rebellious or uncontrolled. They're really not that. They're just not tolerating the same system that grandmama them went through, or we call it mama them. Work 50 years on a job and then you can retire just to be broke. They starting to realize, like for example, you know, the company that I work for, or that God blessed me to found, is Eracism Records. And in eracism, the word eracism, eradicating or erasing racism, some would say that's a dream. But it's a dream that has a cause and a purpose with it, that the youth now that I'm dealing with now, we talk about hip-hop. That's the language of the youth. And as I'm driving, you know, hip-hop is wanging in my passenger side of the door. Somebody's sound system is boom, 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 boom. I look to the right, it's a white guy with dreads, listening to 50 Cent. I get money, not caring about this here. So a white parent might say, you know, I want to pass my heritage or lineage on to you, but you into hip-hop, and the white kid says, true story, white kid says, I want to be like Mike because he defeated the rest, not because he's black. See, even the young whites are starting to get a hold of this. So there was some whites that marched with King. And I just had a conversation in organizing the website for Eracism Records. And we wanted to put a face on Eracism Records. And I said, how would that look? So we said, let's go with the Last Supper and put Mao Zedong there, Che Guevara at the table. Let's put King at the table. Then we asked the question, what white person really represented racism from a civil rights standpoint? We couldn't think.
You could put maybe John Brown. Maybe you could go back 150, 160 years ago and put John Brown on there. But you know what I'm saying?
That's a shame. But you got to go back 150 years to think of a white person that would stand to the forefront
and put their life on the line.
And that's what's going. And why does it have to get to that? That's the question. Why does someone have to lose